Welcome guys to Twisted News, where every week we're keeping you up to date with some of the strangest and scariest stories currently happening all around the world. Today, we have two stories involving families, and in the first one, we're looking at the exorcism of a little girl from California that ended in tragedy. And in the second story, we're telling the heartbreaking truth about the missing mother who was finally found. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoy the episode. And now, get rid of Scary Mysteries, Twisted News. Number 1. 3-year-old dies during exorcism. A family is supposed to protect and care for one another, particularly the children. Another unit in the community where most people find comfort and a sense of belonging is a group of like-minded people, such as a religious group. However, not all families and religious groups are without fault, as some seem to have a weak grasp on how the real protection of a human being truly works. This is exactly the case with Arlie Proctor, a 3-year-old child who went through horrible circumstances because her family believed that they were protecting her from some unknown evil. One can't help but wonder just exactly what the family was thinking when they chose to do something drastic to her, thinking they were doing it out of love and to protect her, but it had the reverse effect. In the wee hours of the morning on September 24th, 2021, the toddler woke up in the middle of the night crying and screaming. Most parents would probably recognize this as one of those days when most children of Arlie's age have bad dreams or night terrors. However, according to her 25-year-old mother, Claudia Hernandez Santos, in a later interview, this had been going on for some time, so they concluded that the toddler must have been suffering from possession of evil spirits and figured the best way to help was to perform an exorcism on her. At about 6:30 in the morning, Claudia and her brother, Rene Hernandez Santos, and the still sleeping Arlie drove from their home in Mountain View in Santa Clara County, part of Northern California, to the Iglesia Apóstoles y Profetas, a local church located in San Jose. It was a small Pentecostal church where Arlie's grandfather, Rene Trigueros Hernandez, was the church leader and pastor. Upon arriving, the trio performed an exorcism on the helpless child for hours. Claudia and Rene held down Arlie by her neck, torso, hands, and legs as they performed the so-called exorcism to rid her of the evil spirits in her body. Claudia strangled Arlie multiple times as she lost and regained consciousness over and over again. And the mother even tried to stick her finger down Arlie's throat to induce her daughter to vomit. Arlie was able to live through the ordeal, but only for 12 hours. And she ended up dying on the floor of that church at about 6:30 in the evening. But authorities were only called a few hours after that. Officially, the 911 operators received the call at 8:12 p.m. They also learned that there was no attempt made by any of the family members to revive Arlie after she had stopped breathing. Her death then was later determined to have been caused by smothering and suffocation. Investigators have determined that Arlie's death was child abuse, resulting in a homicide. To make this case even worse, on January 27th, 2022, Claudia posted a video on YouTube that talked about what happened, particularly after the crime. She attempted to explain that what occurred to Arlie was allowed by God and would only mean the toddler was already in a better place, as opposed to living in a world where everything is going downhill. She even went as far as to say that she was thankful for what had happened, and that she would get sad and cried whenever she thought of her. In the entirety of the 43-minute video, however, Claudia was seen laughing, smiling, and chewing gum, but never looked glum, nor did she shed a tear. The video's title is the full name of the child, and the channel was just created 3 weeks before that video was uploaded. On February 2nd of 2022, Claudia was then arrested and charged with child assault leading to death. Arrests for the same charges of Arlie's uncle and grandfather followed in May, and if found guilty, Claudia could get 25 years in jail. However, in an interview with the media, Rene Trigueros Hernandez, the pastor and grandfather, insisted that what happened with the exorcism was to free her from the evil entities. He also said that the exorcism only lasted a couple hours. This case, as well as the video posted by Claudia, have been getting backlash from the public because of how disturbing the circumstances are, particularly because of the family's lack of remorse for the murder they committed. Somehow, it's clear to everyone that not only did the family fail to help and protect Arlie, but they also failed to see the gravity of the situation and the crime they committed, which makes one wonder just what other forms of abuse Arlie went through when she was still alive. Number 2. Missing mom's body discovered. There is almost always something that remains unanswered in missing persons cases. Bits of details and scenarios remain a mystery even if the case becomes solved. Even if the perpetrator reveals whatever there is to reveal, it always feels like there is still something left unsaid. And this is also probably the reason why talking about missing cases is always difficult and sometimes even unsettling. This case is nothing short of that. A woman who went missing in 2018 has finally been found, but the circumstances surrounding her disappearance only get worse, especially when the true story has finally been revealed. And yet, still, something feels amiss. 82-year-old Sylvia Friends was living peacefully at her house in Grand Junction, located in Mesa County, Colorado, when she mysteriously disappeared in 2018. Her daughter, clueless as to what had happened to her mother or her whereabouts, then reported her missing in May of that year. It was discovered that when her disappearance was first reported, the police actually investigated a foul smell in the bedroom. They also spotted a brown stain on the floor, which came back negative for blood after being tested. On June 5th of 2018, a man was pulled over by Missouri police, and it was Sylvia's son, 54-year-old Richard Vandervelde, who was said to have provided false identification. However, Grand Junction police were able to question him about his mother's disappearance, and he told the police that he was staying in the house with his mother and that prior to her disappearance, Sylvia and a friend went to California, particularly a month before she was reported missing. However, he never knew other details about the trip or when the two were supposed to return. The investigators learned that Richard was using Sylvia's vehicle and bank cards. The man even took out more than $10,000 from his mother's account. Richard, however, insisted that his mother permitted him to use these. Recently, on April 26, 2022, 3 years and 11 months after Sylvia was reported missing, police received information finally from the new tenants of Sylvia's house. They found a suspicious-looking trash bag stuffed inside a manhole on the property, and inside it was a corpse, which later was identified to be the very person they'd been searching for almost 4 years, Sylvia. According to the autopsy reports, she received blows to her head which caused her death. And this cause was ruled as a homicide, with Richard being the main suspect in the case. Richard was then located and arrested in Pinellas County, Florida on May 19th. He was transferred to a detention facility in Mesa County, facing charges for the following: first-degree murder, tampering with a deceased human body, crimes against an at-risk adult, fraud identity theft, theft of $5,000 to $20,000, motor vehicle theft, and abuse of a corpse. This very case is one example of how stories of people going missing never seem to present their entire truth to the public, even when the case becomes solved. It's still unknown why Richard attacked his own elderly mother, or what happened that led to this horrific and terrifying crime. It's also uncertain if what he'd eventually say to the court to narrate his side of the story would actually be true. We can only somehow celebrate the fact that the rest of Sylvia's family and friends can now find peace and closure as to what happened to her, and hopefully be able to accept the tragedy and receive the justice they so deserve. If you guys enjoyed that, then please go ahead and binge on tons of our other episodes, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on all our new stuff. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.